to invite the mission team up to come up front. While they're up, if you could turn in your Bibles to Hebrews chapter 13. You'll be needing that later. That's a lot of people. I don't remember this many of you going. Did we add some? So if you can stand up on this step and kind of gather around. So what we're going to do is we're going to share about the mission trip to Mexico. We took 23 people with us this year, which is the most we've ever taken. And about almost half of them were first time on the trip. So we took 2 vehicles, took the van and the bus, and just to give you an idea of some of the things that happen on the trip, just a precursor so you can wrap your head around as you're about to hear some stories from them. We have some different things that took place. You know that if you're a missionary in a foreign country, it's important that you interact with agriculture as well. This is kind of what it looks like when we're all together. And so just to give you a visible, tangible kind of reference point as you begin to hear each of them tell these stories. They all have slips of paper that they got this morning, and there's a couple topics on that they have to share about. So it'll be a little bit random and disjointed as far as the order, but that's okay. We're going to start down there with Bobby in just a second. So this is kind of the kids and all that. And this is what the ranch looks like. So they're each going to talk for 2 minutes about themselves. Make sure now, there's not everybody hears really well, so speak right into the mic, guys.
So I got devotions and 2-minute sharing time. So with the devotions, before you do that, so like you pick a verse and then you talk on why you felt that was a good verse, and before that you tell like 2 minutes of yourself, and that's kind of hard when you're a boring person like me. But I chose Philippians 4:13 for my devotions. It's been a personal favorite for a long time. It just says I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and I just like that because it's like, you know, whatever you're going through, you can just trust that God will help you. And then I also got the mudslide bus ride. So on the way, leaving the camp, Tuesday it rained like the whole day, pretty good rain. So it was just super muddy. And on Wednesday when we left, it was Thursday? No. Oh, it was Thursday. Yeah. Thursday when we left, super muddy, and then the road to get to the camp is pretty steep, like going uphill, so we're going down this thing and just sliding all over, running into the ruts and everything. Thankfully Lucas is an expert driver, otherwise might not have got back as soon as we did.
Okay, well, so I got fencing, which was one of the construction jobs that me and Bobbert and another guy named Garrett was on. That was fun, that's for sure. So we were fencing off the property line, making sure those cows and horses will not get in and just keep trampling stuff. So all we did was, drive T-post in. We set one of the main posts with concrete. It's pretty basic. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys know how a fence works. One of the downsides of that is me and Bobber got poison oak. It was fun. Oh, and Sam. Well, he was playing everywhere. So, kind of. Yeah, I don't know if Tommy got any, but it was fun. Definitely burned a little bit. Then the other one I got was the Baby Zach and the Robert dance. So, one of the leaders down there, Karime, called me Baby Zach, and I don't know why. I'm not a small person. But she called me Baby Zach, and all the kids started getting the hang of it. And everybody knows the Baby Shark song, right? So we put 2 and 2 together. Baby Zach, Baby Shark, makes a song. As you can tell. So I heard that about every single day. I don't like that song at all. But yeah, so that was the Baby Zach song. And then Robert's special little dance. Man, I'm not going to let him do it. Yeah, there's got to be a video of it. It's a dance, and it's not, I don't think it's pleasant to look at. It's weird. The kids love it, though, because they always tell him to do it. Yeah, it's from a game. It's weird. But yeah.
The first topic I had was tarps and gardens. I did the tarps with Corey and Carla, but she's not here. I didn't do the garden weeding. Is that Lori? Is that weeding? But for the tarps, we took one off of like a built shed that they store like their VBS in. So we just cut a big old billboard tarp and screwed it in. I don't know how to explain it. And then I also have to talk about Puerto Hermosa, which is Beautiful Gate. It's their special needs orphanage where they take neurologically damaged children in. And it has a special place in my heart. I worked there for about a week when I was a senior in high school. And it's just crazy to see how God heals all, even when their prognosis isn't great. Yeah, so that's amazing.
My first one was border crossing. The border crossing was very smooth this year. On the way back to America, it was 30 minutes. Like when we were just going. The way up, very smooth. We just got out, checked our bags, and got back in, and we left. And then my second one was rain. It rained a lot all day on Tuesday. So as in that picture, we all had trash bags. It was very fun. And then when it stopped raining, everyone just went outside and we all played. So it was very fun.
No, you talk. So Sammy has beach day. Can you tell him what you found at the beach?
Seashells,
What else?
a crab,
And the beach day is always fun. We take the kids to the beach there, and what else did we do? Did we fly kites?
yes,
What else?
played football and soccer, and buried people in the sand.
Okay. So then, my two are the amphitheater. So the amphitheater is, it was a little shed. They call them casitas, but it's just like a Stormore shed that somebody had donated. So they disassembled it and brought it to the ranch. Well, at the ranch, they have an amphitheater that's not yet quite finished, but it will be. And so me and Kurt and T. Wayne started reassembling this little casita on a concrete pad, and basically it's going to become a changing room. So that in front of this amphitheater, one side of the casita has no windows or doors, and we added 3 feet, so it's kind of the backdrop of the stage, so they can put lights and a little stage, so they can do a little skit and then run it back around inside and change and entertain everybody. The grand scheme of the amphitheater is going to be marvelous. It just takes time. And then my other one is visiting the kids' homes. So we do dispenses where we put together little care packages. This year was powdered milk, Brussels sprouts, green beans, or snap peas, whatever you want to call them, tomatoes, what else? Oats, yeah, for oatmeal, some toilet paper, and some oil. To us, that sounds pretty, whatever, right? Well, we start taking kids home last night there, and one of the first places we pull up is Arlen and Alejandro's house, and their dad met us at the door, and had a broken foot, or a foot that was injured, and at first was surprised, but the look of relief on his face, getting the few small commodities was a good thing, because with a broken foot or an injured foot, it's hard to work. So also visiting there, Alejandro's last year there, Mary Ellen was his Nino, and first thing out of his mouth was, I still have a picture. So back in 2018, Mary Ellen and him took pictures together, and his dad David made sure to tell us that it's still on his wall pinned up. So the impact we make on children's lives is just, it's amazing, especially Melba Friends. Of all the churches, I mean, we've talked with Greg, we've talked to everybody, and we're one of the few continual things in these kids' lives and Pipula that's there year after year, and just bringing the blessings to them. Then we went on to Pipula, which, I mean, it's still the same area, but you get into the more traditionals to where you have a little bit of acreage, so you have generational families. So we'll just use Carmen, for instance. You have mom and grandpa, or grandma and grandpa, and their kids are still at home, and some, like Tommy had Christian, who was one of Chris's first Nino's son now. So we're generationally down to grandkids now coming through the program. That is just, it's awesome. And in Pipula, visiting with them and getting to meet them and taking them home with the dispenses and just getting to see the way of life is different in that area versus here. A lot of the kids don't actually get up and move out of the home until they find somebody that's stable and can give them a home. So, like I said, you see a lot of generational houses and casitas on property, but all in all, just awesome.
So I got, so I'll do the obstacle course first. It's definitely fun, but the mud pit was the best. I saw when we were at archery, there was a couple kids who were cheating on blue team. But I think we got the worst time. I mean, we got the biggest group, but we... Okay. But, it was definitely fun, but some kids on our team slowed us down. I can talk about Bray because she's not here. But that, and then my next one I got was pudding. I mean, well, what was it called? Blindfolded pudding is what it was. And what you do is sit on a chair in your Nino, or you do it first, and then you have sunglasses on, but you have to close your eyes and try putting it in their mouth. But like my Nino would kind of cheat. He would like open his eyes and like kind of move his head, so I would put it in his mouth. And then when he did it, he would like put it all over my face and on my hair. And yeah, that's it.
So mine was the verse that we did for our little VBS lesson for the couple of days that we did it. And as many times as we said it and recited it in Spanish, I couldn't tell it to you again, so I'll read it in English. It was 2 Timothy 3:16. All scripture is inspired by God and profitable for teaching, for reproof, for correction, and for training in righteousness. So there was a couple days that we did like a little VBS lesson with the kids, and we based it around that verse and did some fun games with it, a little hot potato, and just recited the verse a lot, and tried to help teach it to the kids while we were learning in Spanish, and that was fun. So yeah, just a little bit.
So I got archery. Archery is a lot harder than it looks. So Zach is a pro at it, and he had to teach me how to shoot it. But there's a couple of Ninos that were really good at it, and yeah.
So I have the fair, and basically it's like a small little fair with like a couple of booths and games in it, and we had like a ring toss, bowling, like a little fishing game. There's some face painting, darts. There's a dangerous game of darts. They were like, wouldn't stick to the board, and they were flying everywhere, and all the little kids were trying to like grab them. These were like big old sharp metal darts that we were throwing. Well, there's like some popcorn with some weird topping stuff going on it, some nachos and vegetables with other weird topping stuff going on it, and there's pineapple juice, and yeah, it was just a fun time.
Okay, so the first one I got was the food dispense, and as Lucas said, we just put together food baskets, and we were able to deliver them to the households, which in our eyes is not very much. We count it as everyday household vegetables and grains, but they count it as maybe a month's worth of food. And the second one I got was the tacos. Those are the most amazing tacos I have ever eaten. And the second time we went, Chris told us about queso tacos, which are life-changing. They are quesadilla, and they break it open, and they put all the taco toppings in it, and it's the most amazing thing I've ever eaten.
That's funny. Okay. The first one I got is the kitchen. And the day that it was pouring rain, the job that I was doing, I couldn't do because of the rain. So they had a few of us work in the kitchen with the gals that prepared the food. And it was so much bonding through sign language, really, because they didn't speak any English at all, and we didn't speak hardly any Spanish. So the few of us that were from our group got to share stories with each other, but then while we were doing that, we were trying to communicate with the kitchen gals who prepared the food. And so the things that I took away from it, just when I was in there kind of soaking everything in, were the components of the kitchen. We had huge bowls of tomatoes that we were dicing to make pico de gallo, and the knives were super dull. So cutting tomatoes with dull knives is not easy, but the pico de gallo was amazing, so it worked out well. But then just looking at the kitchen, like Mary Ellen had cut her finger on her pants or something, her coat, and so her finger was bleeding, and they didn't care at all. It was just kind of like, whatever, wipe it off. So it was really good for our immune systems. But I love that. I just love the aspect of the difference from America, where we're so concerned with sanitation and things like that, and there it's just pouring love into the food that they make. And then, you know, having dull knives and just using what you have, and then thinking about the tools that we have here from America that help us make things easier, but spending time with them, hours just cutting tomatoes and vegetables, was precious. And having a kitchen, called a kitchen, but it's really a tarp over some poles and a dirt floor. And so when it was pouring rain, the rain would just dump in the back of the kitchen. Everything was kept in huge plastic tubs so that it wouldn't go bad. But we'd just be cutting, and then suddenly you'd hear a flood in the back, and there was big puddles, and that kind of thing I really love, because it takes you away from the American lifestyle and helps you realize they're just so thankful to be able to cut food. And then the other one I got was the orphanage in Pipila. And we got to go one of the evenings, visit the orphanage, where they have a setup of a house for the kids and a house for the moms who are going through some sort of program in order to get their children back, hopefully, ultimately. And it was dark at night when we went, so you couldn't see too much on the way in, but you could tell we were in a really rough area. And when we went into the orphanage, instantly what caught my eye was that there was no welcome mat. It was clothing. There were a few pieces of clothing, t-shirts, and maybe a pair of pants to stomp your feet on as you went into the door. And so, you know, I just think about the aspect of America where we spend money on a welcome mat, and here we are walking in, stomping our feet on some of their clothes to get into their home. And then you go in and it's just a torn up floor, but this is a big upgrade for them compared to what they were describing beforehand. And the kids and the parents, the moms that were there, they get to come visit the kids for a little bit. Just love spending time together. The two kiddos that I was paired with didn't live at the orphanage, so Curtis's little guy ran over to us and he was so excited to show us his bed. So we went in to look at his bed, and it's just rows of bunk beds, and they have their one little bunk bed and items that they just treasure because they don't have much. And so watching him show us in excitement the toys that he got from us in the bag that the church gave them, we knew it was in the bag, but he was so excited for these new items. And Curtis said, "Where do you keep your clothes?" And you just realize they don't keep their clothes anywhere. They maybe have a box of clothes that they share to just find an item for that day. And so they're literally worried about one day at a time. And seeing their beds filled with, you know, multiple stuffed animals that someone had given them that they cling to, because those are the items that they have literally right there on their little bed. They kept it so nice and neat. So, I mean, there was a lot to it compared to that, but I love it. I love getting to visit places like that and watch kids from America go and see places that these kids live, and they're just so happy for those small items that they have. So, yeah.
Nice job. First, I just want to say thank you to, I know we got to be the hands and feet on this journey, but without all the prayers and, of course, the financial support through the auction and such, none of this would be possible. So thank you for all that you did, even though you weren't there. Without you, this doesn't happen. So thank you so much for that. I have a couple pieces I'll share. The staff. The staff there is made up of a different group. You have teams, right? You have the kitchen staff, you have the workers. You have some staff that stay there year-round. You have some that will come in here in the next few weeks. They'll get trained and help with the different camps. But the best thing about the staff is everyone's a part of everything, literally. So when we're doing the carnival and putting the fair on for the kids, you have the guys that are workers up there. They're running some of the booth. You have the ladies that are in the kitchen. Everybody is part of the team. Nobody's left out. Everyone, just like God would tell us, is on the same team. So that was cool to see that in action. Some of their staff are people who've gone through the U-turn program, so they were lost, deeply lost, and now they are found. They're back on their way of doing things the way that God wants them to do. So that's pretty special to see. And now they're serving back at the camp, the one place that helped turn their life around. They get to be a part of. So the staff is unique. It's amazing. You have to be there to see it to really appreciate it. The next piece I got is travel. So when you're traveling with 23 people, that's a lot. I don't know if you've ever done that before. But Chris has made this trip. This is year 18. So he's got his stops where he likes to go. And so it's a pretty systematic process. Going down, it was pretty smooth. Now, I don't know if you've ever been on a road trip. I'll role play for you a little bit. So you get in the car, and little Johnny's in the back, and it's about 25 minutes down the road. Oh, Mommy, I have to go to potty. And then, Mommy's like, oh, Dad, we have to stop. Johnny has to go potty. And then Dad's like, son, suck it up. We have another hour. Well, on the way back, we get a little tired. That happened. And Chris looked back, and it was one of our newbies that was along for the ride from the Meridian, who was super awesome. He said, well, how bad do you have to go? And she hesitated. And so he said, all right, we're forging ahead. The good news is she made it, and so did everybody else. But you know what? For 23 people traveling all the way 18 hours there and back, I have to tell you, I thought the trip went off perfect. I mean, it was such a blessing from the start to the finish. I could talk for hours about all the cool stuff. I got to share one more thing. The beach was probably my favorite piece because there's a language barrier. Many of our group here don't know Espanol very well. And so there's a big language barrier. But if you were to stand back and watch us interact with our niños and each other for that 2 hours on the beach, you wouldn't think there was a barrier of any sort, because just the laugh and just the joy and just playing together and just doing life together for those 2 hours was absolutely priceless. I think it was a little piece of what heaven's going to look like. And so for me, that was my favorite part. So it was awesome.
So now the impact for you. So we didn't. They didn't introduce themselves, so they can do that. So we're not going to assume that everybody knows who everybody is. So they're just going to share what stood out to them, what impacted them, what they're taking away, whatever it is they want to share. It can be short, it can be long. We got all the time in the world. So start with, my name is Robert Knight, but I'm also known as
Bobbert. Bobby, Bobbert, Roberto, Robert if you want.
See the dance.
No.
Dance.
That's gonna cost money this time. I think just seeing how easily the kids warm up to you. Just like the first day you meet them, they're not like, they're kind of unsure, but after a day or two, they really warm up to you, and that just, for me, I'm not a very social person, but just to see them not really care, realize you're there to have fun, to love on them, and just see them react quickly to that's pretty cool.
and your kid's name?
Alan.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm Zachary. I have a couple of things that's just eye-opening. So it's just the connection that I had this year was I wanted to cry, but I didn't. I did not. So I started off having one niño. His name was Kevin. I've known Kevin for a long time. That's 3 years now. So of course the connection we had was perfect. I've known him. He knows everything about me. I know everything about him. We're just playing soccer all day. Middle of the week, I get another one. His name was Caesar, and he was new. I've never seen him there before, and so our connection kind of wasn't there. But through each day, it just got closer and closer and closer. We just started connecting a lot more. And on that last day when we were giving out the dispenses and we were at their house, the kid wouldn't let go of me. He was hugging me, and I was like, in 3 days, you have already had, like, you don't want to let go of me in 3 days. That's all it takes. And I don't know, it was just crazy. And then even going in their house, his mom invited me and Robert into their house because Alan and Caesar were brothers. And it's just it was a nice house. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was amazing. But they had their whole family living there. They had their cousins, they had their grandmas, some lady in the corner doing nails. It was pretty cool. But it's just the impact that we make on these kids' lives that is just insane. And one thing we always struggled with is the connections with the kids, but I don't think anybody in this group had to struggle with that. We were just all, here's your kid, play with them, and you couldn't stop them. And it was insane. So, yeah.
My favorite thing is I've been going a lot, and my dad's gone for years, and I've watched kids grow up for the past 7 years, and they just remember me, and then they love you like you're their own sister. So that's my favorite part, is getting to watch kids grow up. And it's also a reminder that we have to serve others here and not just when you're supposed to on a trip. Oh, I'm Mary Ellen.
I'm Tommy. I'd say I'm mostly impacted because, like Lori mentioned, that the kids have their own bed and they have so many stuffed animals, but yet there's only theirs, and their clothes are just in a box. Every kid just goes, pulls them out, and they're gonna wear them for that day. Like when we get their shoes, those shoes are theirs. Same with stuff that we personally give them. But when we come back here, like, we have all this stuff, and sometimes we're not even happy for it. But if they were to live our life for a day, they would have so much joy in their life. So,
All right, my name's Lucas, in case none of you know, or ever heard me talk. But this year was a tradition we brought back that hadn't came back for a while due to COVID, was we took them to buy shoes. So the shoe store we go to, I mean, we're not getting Nike or Under Armour, they're shoes. But the impact it makes on these kids is still just, it makes you happy. And like Kurt said, it's all because of you guys that some of these kids, especially the Pipula kids, a lot of their shoes are wore out, too small, stinky, been washed 100 times. Gives them a new pair of shoes, and they look forward to it. The shoe store, it was cool. I drove the bus. we went in our teams, yellow, blue, and orange, and just to watch them run in, and some of the littler kids pick out the sparkly shoes or the bright shoes, and it was good. It's just a good tradition that we try to keep going. But for me, the most impactful thing is just talking with staff, and just people don't understand how strong, and I know some of you have never been, and you pray and support, but the strong bond that Melba Friends has with Genesis Diaz, and especially the Pipula kids, is just undeniably out of this world strong. We are consistent, and we're consistent multiple times a year, and the kids remember, and the kids wait for us. Gabby was telling a story about a little boy that we dropped off that wanted us to stay an extra week. It's just the amount of just fellowship they get with us. A lot of these kids, when mom and dad are at work and they live in Pipula, they either go outside and kick rocks, or they don't have PlayStations, they don't have TVs with multiple channels such as us. So when we're there, they're busy, they're eating, they're playing tag, watching us do silly things like dance and the Baby Zach song, and watching Corey try to play soccer. I mean, not gonna lie, it's kind of rough to watch. or walking around with Sam naming goats, or just the impact we have is just it's awesome. And just me thinking on the way back how gonna talk with Chris how we can make more of an impact and maybe make more of a presence known. I mean, like I said, it's just every one of you guys are a part of the trip, and every one of you guys are there, and just need to keep it going.
So, it was definitely a huge impact on my life. Marcos is my Nino. He was definitely a huge impact. It felt amazing to have him. He acted like a bodyguard for me. So like Tommy knows, like if you would touch me in any way or like look like you were hurting me, if he was on the playground, he'd slide down the fire pole and just run at you, and sometimes he'd like punch you. And he had like worn out cleats, so he tried kicking Tommy a lot. And it was just like amazing to have my own bodyguards. But besides that, definitely I had a big impact just on like experiencing it, and it was just amazing experience.
So there was definitely a lot that impacted me over there. I was definitely nervous with it being my first time, and but we got our niños on the first day, and I got mine, and I was so scared to try and interact with her and just like get to know her with like not knowing Spanish or anything. And the very first day we were just sitting there, just like getting to know each other, and she was already drawing hearts in the sand, writing "I love you," and it was just super encouraging just to see that like just right away. And my favorite part was definitely the end of the week when we do God Buys, where you just get to sit down with your niño and just have one-on-one time with a translator, and you just get to say anything that you want to say because they'll translate it for you. Because all week you just think of all these things that you want to say to your kid that you can't say because of the language barrier, and then finally at the end of the week you just get to sit down with them and just tell them you love them and that you're going to miss them. You hope you see them again, and it was just super cool just to hear what they had to say to you too.
I'm Thais, and what impacted me was how much energy they have. And so, like my Nino's, his name was Axel. He was pretty young. I don't know how old he was. I think he was like 5. But we would be playing soccer, and then he would want to play tag, so we'd be switching everywhere. And it was tiring for me, but he loved it. And he was really good at soccer. But yeah.
So I'm Corey. My Nino, pretty cool kid, a lot of energy, We, at the start of when we first were meeting him, we got all in a circle and we had to go out first, and they would say who our Nino was, and he came out, jumped, and just yelled Sue, which is what they do when they score a goal. Then he played soccer nonstop. He loves soccer, which I'm not a big soccer guy, but you know, it was still a fun play with him. He was definitely the smallest kid out there, and he got hit by the ball pretty hard a couple times. Then he liked his, I think one of his favorite things was actually doing the blankets, even though he didn't help very much with the blanket. He's like watching there and sitting. Then him and his friends learned how to stab someone's side with their hand. And it doesn't feel very good, especially when there's like 6 of them doing it to you. And then he also liked pulling leg hair. I really liked it a lot. But yeah, other than that, he was pretty great. He's a fun kid.
My name is Mallory. This is my first time going on the mission trip. I had 2 things. The first one was that we all had assigned niños. Mine was Hannah. But I just really liked that we could all play with each other's niños. Like, one day Tate told me that he's going to the bathroom, and he left me with Marcos, not knowing when Tate was going to come back, but I played with Marcos for a while. And my second thing was the communication down there. It's actions speak louder than words, for sure. The second day, I got a kiss that I was just like, wow, this is amazing. So not being able to speak the same language, but being able to hug and kiss was amazing.
Oh, I don't do well when someone else is crying. My name is Lori, I guess I need to say that first. I had 2 little girls. They were middle-aged little girls, preteen, one named Sophia and one named Elsa. And they just put you in that big circle, and then they call your name, and you're standing there, and then they announce who your kiddo is going to be for the week, and everyone gets excited for you. And so when I saw that they were a little bit older girls, I was kind of nervous, just because I'm used to young elementary kids that I work with for my job. And so I thought, well, I hope I can make a good connection with these kids because I'm so used to little ones. And it was incredible to get to know these girls, to play with them, to just follow them around and see what they wanted to do. One of the girls had a necklace on, and I told our group about this one of the nights we were sharing, where I was just complimenting her necklace to think of something to say. What words do I know in Spanish, and what can I say? And so I was trying to tell her necklace was beautiful, and the next thing I know, she's taking her necklace off to give it to me. And it hit me where it was like, she has nothing, but they have such hearts to give and to love and to show you their love. And I tried to tell her, no, 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 and she just desperately wanted to give it to me. So at the end of the week, I got to give her the necklace that I wore down there. That was super special. But to me, it meant nearly nothing compared to what I knew it meant to her to give me her necklace. And then the other little girl I had, just like Zach mentioned, when we took them to their homes, she lived in a home. Her dad came out to greet us, and Tate had her little brother. And when we were saying goodbye, it was that clinging. She just clung to me. And so I just was standing there with the translators, and I said, I'm just going to hug her until she lets go. I'm not going to push her away. And you could tell they were trying to think of things to keep saying to the dad. And she was just sob crying. And so I just was holding her in so tightly, this preteen girl who just did not want to let go. And so that was terribly hard. I just let her hug me until they kind of pried us apart. But saying goodbye was terribly tough, especially when you hope that you'll see them again next year. So anyway, watching these teenagers interact with their kids was awesome. As an adult, getting to see them get out of America and pour themselves out into the lives of these kids, I think we were impacted tremendously on our end, far more than they were there. But I know it makes a huge impact there too. So yeah. There was too many things to share, but those are a couple of points.
My name is Curtis. Impact, probably, I know we go down and we are able to bless those that are down there, but I think that when you sit back, for me, they probably bless me more than I bless them. And the reason why is you look at, I'm envious because they don't have a lot, but yet they have so much more joy than most of us. I always see the stuff that we have in America, and a lot of it's a distraction to keep us from what's most important. And you think about it, they meet us within 24 hours. They see the joy that we bring, and just the fun that we bring, but they're just gripping onto us, not wanting to let go. And I think, man, that's what we have to do with God, is to get rid of all the distractions that we have in our life and just hold on and savor that. I think we get distracted because of all the stuff that we do have. We're blessed, there's no doubt about it, but sometimes I think a blessed can be a curse. So just to see Alejandro, Alex was my guy, have so little but so much joy and happiness every day was just awesome. And a reminder that there's nothing in this world that's going to be sufficient to fill that void in our hearts except for Christ. So just a great reminder, so very blessed.
What's your name?
My name is Sam.
So, what did you name the goats?
I named 3 goats. One of them was Alex, and then another one was Fire, and then the mom was Mom Boss. And the dada one is Chocolate.
Awesome. Thank you guys for sharing. Go ahead.
city, all through my home. We're flying up no ceiling when we in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well you already know. So just imagine, just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on, all those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop believing. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. I don't need no reason, don't be control. I fly so high, no ceiling when I'm in my zone. 'Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off of it, moving so phenomenally. You're more like the way we rock it, so don't stop. Under the lights when everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When we move, well you already know. So just imagine, just imagine. Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on, all those things I shouldn't do, but you dance, dance, dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. I can't stop believing. So just dance, dance, dance. So just dance, dance, dance. Come on. So just dance, dance, dance. So keep dancing. I can't stop the. 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 Nothing I can see but you when you dance, dance, dance. Feel good, good creeping up on you, so just dance, dance.
Yeah. Let me say that I am extensively proud of the group that went this year. And you think that I would say that every year, but I don't. This year was amazing. Everybody who represented our church did so well. And it's as somebody who's a leader and kind of overseeing the trip, it's really good to just be able to sit back and see everybody go without reminders, without instruction, just to go. If you didn't recognize a couple of those people, we had a family from Meridian Friends join us this year, and that's kind of their investigation into what this is all about, so that hopefully they can connect. We can have another church connecting with Genesis. We also had the Fitch family, which many of you know, but not everybody does, and they live in McCall now. And their church has now adopted Genesis and are going in July. And so we have those different groups that are happening. I can say a lot of things, but they said it really well. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask those questions. We're going to sing a song that kind of summarizes our trip. So the worship team will come up. And as we sing the song, I want to encourage you to think about what's going on in your life that doesn't seem right. And I think about how eventually we're going to enter spring. It's going to be April, and eventually spring's going to hit. I believe, I truly have faith that spring will come. Not today, but it will come. And you'll see all the stuff that's dead begin to take life. That grass that is brown will turn green. Flowers will burst out of the ground. I think spring is a wonderful reminder of resurrection, that our God is the God of resurrection, that Jesus was resurrected from the dead. His body was dead, and yet God brought him to life. And that same Spirit dwells in the hearts of every believer. And so I don't know where you're at this morning with your relationship with God, but I know that he is pursuing you, that he loves you, and he wants to bring life into your body, into your heart, to your soul. So we sing this song. It's a song of surrender. It's a song of trust. And we just invite you to sing it with us. Would you stand as you're able? Oh, this spring, I wonder if I'll ever find my way. I wonder if my life could really change at all. All this earth, could all that it's lost ever be found? Could a God come up from this ground at all? 'Cause you make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of the dust. You make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of us. All around, hope is springing up from this old ground. Out of chaos, life is being found in you. 'Cause you make beautiful things, you make beautiful things out of the dust. You make beautiful us together. This is the passage that we preached on 2 weeks ago, and this is what guided our steps this week. Through Jesus, let's read it together. Through Jesus, therefore, let us continually offer to God a sacrifice of praise, the fruit of lips that openly profess his name. And do not forget to do good and to share with others, for with such sacrifices, God is pleased. We have a wonderful, mighty, awesome Savior in Jesus, and we should say that to everyone we meet. It's the best news in the universe, and we have that opportunity. And so we said these three things at the end. We have this privilege of praise, and what you guys did by supporting this team in your prayers and your finances is praise to God. And what they did while serving and giving their all to these kids was praise to God. I was thinking of being on the bus, and when Ellie's Nina heard the news that this was our last day, and she just instantly went from joyful to just broken. So we said these things at the end. When God does something in your life, write it down. Set up a stone, make a reminder so you don't forget. Maybe you were impacted this morning by what you heard. Write it down, set a reminder, put a reminder in your calendar next year. If God's calling you to be more a part, then take part. Expect a battle. When you do things for God's kingdom, when you do hard things for God's kingdom, Satan doesn't want that. And so he's going to fight you every step of the way. So expect a battle during, before, and after. And then keep building. Keep building the church. We had a good talk about what church is around a campfire. And as a reminder that church is whenever brothers and sisters in Jesus get together. So this is church, yes, but church is any time you gather with other believers. And so let's go with those words and remember those things. Let's pray this prayer together. Abba, Father, yes, I say it again, yes. I say yes to your gift of salvation. I say yes to your Holy Spirit. I say yes to Jesus. Yes to growing to know you more. I say yes to using my life to bless others. I say yes to the call you have for me, even if it isn't what I expect. Father, give me a spirit of willingness to follow you. Give me special moments of treasured time with you. Give me your courage, but also please give me your forgiveness when I fail. Help me to say yes to your church and take steps to love those around me. In all things, may your kingdom come and your will. Amen.